Mike.
And I'm Will.
And we know better. There's been a change since last week.
Something has changed within us. And it's not Wicked, because that's already occurred.
We are back and we're ready to re-beat the dead horse because people have been trying to make me watch Stranger Things for 10 years, and it took Morgan about a week to convince me.
And it also was the same for me, because I only got into it this season, and the only thing that convinced me was a couple of TikToks and just being in the room with my sister, and the yaoi spoke to me. It really did.
It reached out. It came to you in your dreams.
The For You page and the For You page was telling me that Byler was a thing, and I was like, okay, what is this about? And then I'm seeing it on my screen. Meanwhile, this is like season 2, season 3, and I was like, so it's not even like canon gay stuff, and I'm like, well, wait.
Yeah.
And mind you, there is sudden, like I'm obsessed and I can't stop thinking about it.
And mind you, there is a canon lesbian character with a girlfriend in the show, and my sister tried to be like, that's why you should watch it, and I was like, no.
Not good enough.
And then Morgan's like, but these gay boys, and I'm like,
but yaoi, that is a will they, won't they, slow burn friendship.
And I was like, fuck, I am on season 3. It's been about 48 hours.
Right.
But don't worry, I'm gonna be sad on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be ready. We got our tickets bought for New
and we are going to see finale in theater. Yeah.
Morgan, 24 hours after I've started it. She was like, so are we buying the ticket?
I'm so glad you said that, because I was literally thinking about, like, I want to watch it in theaters now, but I don't have anyone to go with, and they're not doing it in my hometown, so I can't even go with my sisters. And then she was getting into it, and I was like, wait, we could see it in theaters.
Morgan didn't even press me at all. Like, she was not like, you should watch it, you should.
In fact, I said, maybe wait till I finish it, and I can tell you if it's yaoi confirmed.
No, literally.
But
it just, like, I think we hit a group psychosis, group as in just the two of us.
Yeah.
Maybe 48 hours ago, right when I started, because we were both up till, like, late as fuck. Well, you were also up late last night reading the Byler fanfic, but I went to bed at a respectable hour, because the night before, I was up till 4 a.m. watching Byler TikToks. We were, like, hitting such a flow state where we were Snapchatting each other videos of us screaming about the same TikToks that we were getting on our For You page at the same time. Yeah. Because you texted me and you were like, and then you were texting me when I wasn't opening the Snapchats fast enough.
Yes!
You texted me and you were like, the Hercules edit, as I'm watching the Hercules edit on my own For You page, and screaming and literally racing to open Snapchat to then Snapchat you to be like, you need to watch the Hercules edit.
And so for context, this is December 13th when we're filming
of 2025.
Yes,
by the way.
And if you're our mutuals, you kind of know what's going on, because it has also taken over my reposts. It's taken over my regular posts.
Is posting on the main.
I'm posting on main. Me in a bathtub reading Byler fanfiction. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm posting in solidarity. I do this shit anyway. I'm seasoned. I love a good yaoi yuri, and I'm always in the fan. And not that you don't, I guess, but I'm always this crazy about it. That's like this is like product of what has happened when you kind of live that life for too long. So you were posting, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna post my fanfic on main too. But that was one of the most iconic, the one I put is one of the most iconic Wolfstar quotes of all time. And so when I got to that scene from Sirius's perspective, I was literally crying. I was crying and I was sending her screenshots like she knew what the fuck was going on. And I was like, look at this.
Well, yes, I get it. That's exactly what the
because
Byler
it is serious.
It's serious. Because I did cry while reading that last night, and I did cry today just thinking about Byler. Just thinking about it.
What is that?
Specifically thinking about if it doesn't happen, like, you guys, genuinely, I'm really going to be sad. Like, actually mourning. I'm going to be, and it's not even like, I mean, it's more canon than I'd argue a lot of gay ships are. Because a lot of them are, this one, like, it is confirmed that one likes the other, at least.
It
for sure,
really,
but like,
I don't know, because Aaron makes a solid argument, and people make a solid argument why it won't be, and also, I know that I am watching this with a Fujoshi brain. Like, I am not watching Stranger Things because I give a fuck about the Upside Down.
Yes,
I am watching it right now because I want to see the yaoi unfold.
Yes.
And, like, it's a pretty good show. I'm not saying it's not, but
that was
I'm texting her about Will and Mike moments, and I'm like, this is clearly setting the groundwork for Byler without question. But it's like, is it without question? Because I also am seeing it through my gay ass eyes.
Right.
But also, I would argue a lot of ships that I ship are shipped on less than that. less obvious things.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's why it's like, I have hope that it will be canon.
It will surprise me if it's not, in the sense of, like, how, like, it is actually, because that's, like, last episode, one, I was not letting her explain Byler well enough to me, because I was really focusing on the queer baiting of it all, because that was what was interesting me about the topic.
Of course.
But I also now, like, it will be the craziest case of queer baiting ever. It will be the craziest,
because who writes a slow burn rejection? If they wanted Mike to reject Will, why wouldn't they do that in the fourth season? The fourth season where we argued, like, that's the most canon. Like, or not the most canon, but the first time it's actually canon that you know that Will likes Mike. He has a crush on Mike. Why wouldn't they do it in that season then? Why drag it to fifth season and continuously drag it past the first volume? That is a crazy thing to do, to just have him reject Mike. That's crazy.
And I guess Stranger Things Volume 5 spoilers, if not, because I'm about to talk about it as if I've seen it yet.
Yeah, but, well, like, by the time this comes out, we'll also say the season, or Volume 2 of Season 5 will be out, so a lot could have gone. We are either one, confirmed, and it is yaoi confirmed, and that'll be great. 2, we're gonna have some sort of rejection or something like that, and we'll be very, very, like, this will be a morning episode, but we don't know it at the time. Or 3, we're still waiting for the damn finale in a couple days. Right. So, like, those are the 3 possibilities right now.
But all that to say, why drag it out and then make Will unlock his powers in the moment to save Mike?
Yeah.
And why make him ask Robin, how do you know if someone wants to be in a relationship with you?
Yeah. Stuff
like that. Clearly tying, because, like, Erin's argument, and I'm just going to keep bringing up Erin because she's the only other person I've talked to about this, so Erin, this is not Erin slander, sorry.
Yeah.
Girl, I always agree with you. But her argument is, like, but his queer arc is about coming into his queerness, and that's what the powers are about. But from how you explain it, it's too intermingled now. And I agree, if you wanted it to make it just about his queerness and coming into queerness, why then drag this through? So, like, what, I guess, all that to prompt you, what are your thoughts on that? Because you could speak more accurately.
It is, if they don't, because I totally, like, as much as I love Byler, like, in reality, I feel like I feel like if it's 50-50, I know other people would think that it's like 0%, but truly I feel like it's like a 50-50 chance of it happening, and obviously I'm on the side of please, 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 please happen. But if it doesn't, I just feel like that's a poor way to set up a queer story, in that if you want to make a character gay and have their story be about coming into their queerness and finding their, like, which I think is what a lot of people are arguing, and the point of Robin's speech is he doesn't need Mike, he comes into his queerness on his own, which is true. I think what he was looking for to confirm his own inner gayness was something from Mike. He's looking to Mike to confirm what is in his inside. But the point of this Robin speech, to me anyways, was no, you can find your queerness outside of that. Like, it's not tied to some other person, it's within you. To me, that doesn't mean that, like, fuck whatever your years-long crush on Mike. It's more of, no, you don't need Mike to like you back to confirm that you're gay.
You know that already.
You know that already. It's within yourself. But that doesn't take away this lifelong crush that he's had. And so then my problem with the way that they would have wrote it is that Will's queerness is so intrinsically attached to Mike because he doesn't have a crush on anyone else. And the relationship is so strong, so it's like,
and that's what makes him realize he is gay.
Exactly.
I guess other
and I think
things,
that's normal, but like, it's I don't feel like you can then have a satisfying queer arc for him
or ending
if he is not, like, his fulfillment of his gayness is not being fulfilled through this man that's how he realizes gay, and as far as we know, the only person that he feels gay feelings towards. And so it's like,
I think that, like, I get what Erin is saying. Yes, I guess my perspective on it is, like, why then drag it out?
Yes.
Why? I just think it won't be satisfying
because he had a crush on any other man.
Yeah, and I also think
it's only been Mike. It's always only been Mike.
I also think I think maybe it would be valid to say, yes, his queerness is tide, but like he knows now that he is just gay and it's not his gayness. I don't know if I agree with the gay feelings only towards Mike in terms of like, I'm sure he knows that he is gay outside of that.
I just mean, but thus far, that's all they've shown us. That's all he's gay. Anything related to his queerness has been in relation to Mike. There's been no other thing outside of that, like him just presenting as being gay.
But I think that maybe was what that, like, what you were saying, though. Maybe that power scene is what's coming to, he realizes that he is just gay. It isn't attached to Mike.
Exactly.
But also then, I guess, where I'm leading it is like, but it would be unsatisfying, though, for him not to get the happy ending then.
Exactly.
After he's realizing all this about himself and after he's sacrificed so much. And just why would we as an LGBTQ audience want to watch another fucking show or movie where the queer person has to learn that, oh, maybe the person I like just won't ever like me because people are just straight. And I, as the gay person, have to now go through the suffering of moving on. And like, yes it is a bit realistic. And I guess the whole idea is like, why can't though? Why doesn't he get to have the happy? Like, I get that he can reach a happy ending. You can't. I'm not saying that's what I guess what I was trying to point I was trying to get around to. You can have a happy ending, and that I feel like this is in a lot of media where you realize, oh, my best friend isn't gonna love me back because they're straight, but I know that I'm gay and it's unrelated to them, which is what they've done with Will and Mike, I guess at this point. But like, and then the person finds a new significant other, right? But then it's like, as a gay person, every time I watch that, it's almost frustrating because it's like, okay, the movie or the show is telling you they get their happy ever after because they realize these feelings aren't going to be requited and then they move on. I'm not saying everyone who moves on is secretly super unhappy, but forcing yourself to move on from a crush that's that serious or a love that's that serious sucks.
Yeah.
It does. I don't care if the movie's telling you that they get a new boyfriend or they get a new girlfriend and they find someone else. No, I want my queer character to get the person they fucking want. The person they've wanted this whole damn time. It's frustrating that queer people always have to learn the lesson that, oh, maybe someone's just straight. Why can't the lesson be, oh, maybe someone's just fucking gay? Maybe they are fucking gay, and the way that they're staring at your fucking lips, Mike Wheeler, all the damn time is fucking gay. You know what I mean? For all of, like, the signs that they've shown, and then just for it to tell us, like, but maybe sometimes your best friend is just straight, and it's okay because you know you're gay, and now you can move on. It's like, but why does he have to move on?
You're forcing the queer character to be the one to accept the situations that they are, as it commonly has, and that's why I'm saying I'm not saying... Yes, that it could be a happy ending for them all. Maybe he gets an epilogue boyfriend. Fuck an epilogue boyfriend. I will literally... Oh, I'd literally rather have him die as a character than just get a random epilogue boyfriend. But whatever. Regardless of that point, it is just to tell us as the audience that we should be okay with his ending and that it's fine that he didn't get the boy that he's been wanting for years, simply because at least he's able to be comfortable in his gayness. That is it's just such bullshit for the queer community because
it's not satisfying
the general audience is going to say, well, yeah, but he's queer though. Yay, queer, love queer. But as an actual queer person, you're like, okay, but we can't have the love of our life then. We have to be, We're told that we have to that it has to be satisfying for us to, at least he gets to come into his queerness.
He can accept he's gay, but he can't get the guy he wants, so he has to move on. But it's okay because happy ending, the happy ending is he accepts that that's okay. And I get that's the only
happy ending that queer people deserves is at least they get to be their true identity.
And it's just like, I just feel like that's so common for a coming of age queer story that you have to accept that you have to move on, and the person like reaches acceptance in like a positive way. And I'm not saying that it's not positive, but watching that over and over is kind of discouraging. Why can't they just be gay? Like, why can't he just get who he wants? Just like the same, if we take every straight example, the nerd girl, the girl who no one's ever gonna like, the weird girl, whatever, the jock guy, they always end up together, the guy she's had a crush on, or vice versa. Whenever a straight character has a crush on someone for a really long time, even if that crush comes with a lesson that has to be learned, it's never you learn the lesson and you don't get the love interest. It's always you learn the lesson and that allows you to get the love interest. But in queer stories, you learn the lesson, but you have to accept the lesson and you don't get the love interest.
Yeah. Especially for a main character, one of, there's I'd say a core 5, which is the party, and for that character that's arguably gone through more than most of the people in the party, I guess it's really it is really a Will v. 11 story. And I know a lot of people then are gonna say, well, how is it satisfying for 11? How is it
because she
a sad
deserves
sight
to
for her.
be her own person.
Yeah, we don't.
She meets one man.
Yeah.
The first fucking person she meets outside of that damn facility is Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And what? She's just good. That's the love of her life?
Yeah.
I think that's bullshit, especially
I'd say
when it's feeding you over and over that
Yeah.
Eleven thinks that these situations are going to save her. She thinks that finding her mom is what she needs to feel family. And you realize that's not the case because her mom has been fucked over already. Mm-hmm. Same with the sister. And sister, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just... And I think I'm speaking on this from my perspective of season 2 and how I just viewed it. Because I haven't gotten to... I'm just starting in canon Mike 11, right?
Yeah.
But all of season 2, she is locked in a shack and not... saying anything against that. I understand why all that happened, and I understand her anger. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But she is watching the TV, and you see her watching these romances and thinking of Mike. But she doesn't know him. She knew him for a week. But in her mind, she's like, I have never experienced love. I've never experienced freedom. And she's tying these things in her mind that she thinks when she is free, she's going to gain her freedom by finding Mike, and her freedom to her is getting to be with him and be in the party, which is probably... I think being with the party is the true ending, especially at the end of season 2. She realizes to be home and to be with family is to be with her friends, and that's totally fine. But I do think it sort of sets up this whole idea that, but why would Mike be the love of her life, and what do they actually know about each other and have in common? And I get that I'm about to watch them figure that out, you know what I mean? But
not
but
really,
isn't their
though.
whole issue that they're never on the same page canonically? And it's like, isn't that saying something about her whole arc in general? That she should be able to find something. Her whole thing is she keeps thinking that things are going to be the answer, or going to be the way that she is told that they should be, and she's discovering as she's entering into real life and assimilating and stuff that it's not, and that's okay. And in fact, she can find better things, like a found family, as opposed to something that's actually her mother. She's like, oh, you know what I mean? And like I think it should be the same for romance, and it should be the same with her situation with Mike, especially because now I think she's going into season 3 with such a preconceived idea of what their relationship's supposed to be and what true love is gonna be, and I have a feeling she's gonna find out that it's not the same. So why should she end up with Mike? Because I just think they're both gonna make each other miserable in a way. As and that's my biased because I haven't seen the rest, so maybe volley to that. What you think?
It's actually the story more leans into, because you're saying she's finding it in friends and family, which I think is true, but it actually more leans into her independence. The whole part is her like learning how to think for herself and act for herself and be her own person. Because this is what Mike and 11 have. They have season 1 where they obviously are very codependent on each other because
for a week when they're 11.
For Will is using 11 as a means to find Will,
Mike.
And then also, or what did I say?
You said Will fighting.
Oh, Mike is using 11 as a means to find Will, and also then he's just in awe of her. The first girl that likes him, and then also just a girl of a superhero, because we know he's a nerdy little shit, and he loves the idea of magic and being higher than. So that's really where his infatuation come, and she's coming from a place of she's finding someone that's genuinely
not
cares about her because she's a traumatized little girl, not someone that has bad idea. Like that's what's bonding them. Season 2, the only thing they have is a yearning because they don't interact until the last 2 episodes. So the only thing they have is a yearning towards each other,
and it's
Season
building
3,
up this perception of what their love is and should be when they get to see each other again.
Yeah,
that's not ever going to be true. In the same way you yearn for some, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You have a crush or you want someone so bad, most of the time when you get them, it's different than what you think it should be.
And that's where the foundations start to crack, because season 3, they are broken up for a majority of the time. And where that decision comes from, which is, I think, a great pinpoint to have, a lot of the actions going on between Mike and 11's relationship are being pushed upon by other people. Max is the reason 11 breaks up with Mike in the first place, and why she feels comfortable to do that. She doesn't know how a relationship works. She doesn't understand it. She doesn't understand how to think for herself to say this is something I want or this is something I'm not want. So she's able to easily take from Mike or take from Max to say, yeah, you're supposed to break up with him, and then you do, because she doesn't have any actual understanding of how the relationship dynamics are supposed to work. And then Mike is all like, fuck this bitch, really. He's like, I don't understand women. I don't understand them. And then, they have, of course, because it's just how they're continuing to string it along like that is that they have some sort of reconciliation by the end of the season. I actually can't even remember exactly what all happens, but they're back together, but then they're separated again because now, I mean, spoiler for you, but whatever. 11 moves away, and Mike is still back home, and so now they're separated, and then the long distance starts to fracture it even more because 11 starts to lie about her life and tries to present herself as something she's not, and Mike is away, and he doesn't understand what's going on, and he also won't say I love you. That's a big thing between their relationship. And then they're fractured, and then they get in a big fight, and then 11 makes a decision off of Mike to go away and go train to save the world, basically, because they're fighting, essentially. I mean, like, because she wants to change his perception of her. And then also leaves, so again, for another season, they're separated, and the big turmoil is Mike's like, I don't know, I want her to need me, basically. What if she doesn't need me anymore? What if she doesn't like me? I'm worried, I'm pushing her away. And the only reason that they end up coming back together is Will. Will is the one perpetrating it. He lies about the painting and gives a speech from his perspective, but saying that it's Elle saying all this, which makes Mike be like, oh yeah, this bitch does like me and need me, and we can be good. And then he's the one that convinces Mike to say I love you to 11. Mm-hmm. So all the relationship is based off of a 1 week together where they were codependent on each other during a traumatic experience.
When you were 11, then a yearning, like, what is the
a yearning for that trauma bond. And then you're breaking up based on, like, everyone else has their opinions on their situation because it's Lucas telling Mike and Max telling 11. And then you're separated and you're fighting because of the long distance and whatever. And the only reason you reconcile is because of Will, a guy who's projecting his thoughts about Mike on to from on 11's perspective. And then in season 5, they're also not. They have like one scene together, 11 and Mike, in the first volume. That's the 4 episodes that have come out, and it's not even like it's not anything super romantic. They have like a talk together at the top of a building, or like at the screen of a sunset, and they don't even talk. They just talk about having a happy ending together as a whole. They're not talking about the two of them. They're talking about everybody having a happy ending together. That's it. That's all you get in 11. In the first
and I
season.
Guess all that to say that I think that them as a written relationship is not as endgame as I feel the fandom has made it seem from the outside, my perspective. Yeah. It seemed as clear as Nancy and Jonathan, which maybe isn't as clear, but Nancy ending up with one of them. Yes. And Hopper and Joyce. It seems like they're one of the core couples that it's clear they're going to be together at the end. But I would argue now, seeing the first 2 seasons and you explaining the rest, that it's not as clear as people are claiming it is.
Especially when what really 11 everyone else has been focusing on their relationships. They have been working on their relationship. You know, it's progressing. They've had storylines together. Everything else, I mean, I guess you could say, but again, it's all just perpetrated by other people. All the development in their relationship has been perpetrated by other people for the last few seasons. What 11's real arc has been focusing on for all these seasons was her standing up for herself and beating her trauma and like learning how to be independent and be the strong girl that she can be. It has not included Mike in the slightest, other than she using his believing in her to achieve what she wants. That's really the only thing that he's playing a piece in, is that which you could argue, like, she's using everybody though.
And I would say I saw a TikTok that really, I think, with the painting and the speech from Will, mm-hmm. if Will was a girl and what scenario has a fake confession perceived to the confessed was someone else, that when they find out it was the original person who said it, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
With that miscommunication, when has that then the person who actually was confessing, when have they ever not gotten together as a result from that trope?
Or readdressed it, because we haven't readdressed it yet. So even
it definitely will have to be
exactly
readdressed. But I'm saying, like, even in general, like, what scenario with this miscommunication, fake communication, do they not actually end up getting together because the person realizes the girl's true feelings that she pretended with someone else, or vice versa, the guy to the girl?
That's got to get resolved somehow, and I only see it being in the way of.
Well, someone has to explain it, but like, I just don't. That would just be so cheap to me. That whole scene then would become really cheap to me.
There's a very strong chance that this will happen, and then I'll say, and then if that's true, that like the Byler doesn't happen, it feels cheap. It feels like bad writing, because why would you write it this way? Why would you write it this way?
Why would you write it where Will, who we know has a crush on Mike, makes this painting and then makes this speech that's clearly a confession? Mike takes it because he poses it as he's 11, as 11 would say, right? Why would they make Will the one to do that, and Will the messenger of this lesson that Mike needs to learn, that 11 does care for him and is all his fears are not what he think it is? Why would they make it through Will, who we know has a crush on him, and what he's saying is how he truly feels? Why would they set it up that way?
Exactly.
Like, just to be cruel?
And let's talk on that thing if Will was a girl again. Because I really think that we would not be having all these conversations if Will was a girl. Because just think about it. Think about it in the context of a girl and boy best friend that were growing up together, and they didn't see each other really like that in the first or second seasons or whatever. I would argue that they did, but again, like, from the general audience's point of view,
they weren't
because
aware
it wasn't
that
really
they did, even if they did.
Yes, it wasn't really canon
my perspective is.
until like season 4, kind of season 3 a little bit, but like you get they don't want in season 3. The girl is like, I don't want things to change. I want it to just be us. You could see that she's starting to feel jealous of this relationship. And then they go, and then they're awkward between each other. And then you realize that the real reason why is because the girl best friend has had feelings all this time, but she doesn't know how to express it. And then she's like confessing and pretending to be the other woman that the man is in love with, or whatever, supposedly in love with. And then all of that, and then just like in that context, could you really say that there's no chance of it happening? Yeah. Like, truly, like, when has it ever been a girl best friend, boy best friend situation like that, where one is like having these growing feelings and there's this jealousy, and then they are the one perpetrating them getting together, and they're having this big confession, but it's in the eyes of the other woman? When has it ever not been canon that they get together?
Yeah.
And so it's just, yeah.
And also, I don't know where I was going to go with that. Yeah, no, I completely...
It just doesn't... It's just poor writing, if so.
Yeah.
It's really... It's very...
Oh, I know what I was going to say. And why would Finn Wolfhard be acting Mike Wheeler as he is right now if there was not some sort of secret turmoil or secret feelings? Because what the fuck is that scene where Will punches him and he goes...
Yeah, looks him up and down and smirks.
And looks at his... Why is Mike Wheeler always looking at Will's damn lips? Ew. And, like, maybe this is just some shit going on with the actors because they're child actors. Maybe they're making it gayer on accident.
Yeah.
But, like, that's crazy. And the look when Will gets his powers, that looked like realizing you're in love with someone.
Yes.
That looked... And the same way that he looks at 11, who he is, quote-unquote, in love with.
Yeah.
And it's so telling to Mike, too, because it's so telling to the argument that Mike is obsessed and in love with 11 because she has powers, and that's what he's obsessed with, this savior, this hero thing.
Yes.
Because as soon as it's put on someone else, he feels the same fucking way. And it isn't her, it's not 11, it's 11, what 11 is in his mind, these powers and everything.
Yes.
And I think that scene kind of really drives that home, the way he's looking at Will, like Will just fucking... like Will is the... Yes.
And again, like, let's just look at arcs. Let's not even consider, like, relationship past. The arc is 11 wants to be independent. She wants to do things. She wants to help save the world. She wants to help save her friends. She doesn't need Mike to do that. As we've learned, she's training by herself with Hopper. She hasn't even interacted with Mike, really, in this first season. 2, Mike needs to feel like the protector. He needs to feel like the leader. He needs to feel like the main guy. He needs to feel like he is needed by someone in helping. Will, obviously in love with the protector. Guess how he gets his powers? Imagining or thinking about their life together. So you could say, want to say that his connection to gaining these powers is coming into his queerness, yes, and realizing who he is, but also needing the love and experiences that he's had in his past, because it's not just Mike, but also like his family. But like 11 has her powers, they're innate at this point. Mike's have come, or Will's has come later in life, and it has come from the love that he has received from other people, and I would argue that includes Mike. So he needs Mike's love to have his power. So they are the ones that have the arcs crossed, not Mike and 11.
And speaking about that scene, why would they make... is he thinking about other things when that happens, or is that flashback with them on the swings the main thing he's thinking about?
It's one of them, but no, there is multiple.
There's multiple.
Yeah, there is
but
a whole
also,
scene with
why
him
would
building
they
Castle
do...
Byers.
Why would they do that callback to that scene, which is already described in season 2, when Will is being controlled by the Mind Flayer, and they're trying to bring back memories to make him remember, and for some reason he's fucking talking in Morse code, which that's bullshit that an 12-year-old would be able to do that while also being possessed by a Mind Flayer, but whatever. I thought that was funny. But what Mike's fucking memory is, when I saw you for the first time and I was alone and you looked so alone and I just wanted to be your friend because I knew that
and it was the best decision I've ever made. And then, not anything to do with 11. The best decision he's ever made was being friends with Mike.
And then you flash forward to season 5, and so we are getting that from Mike's perspective of something he's trying to describe as like his best memory with Will, blah blah blah. That's from Mike's perspective, that season 2 moment. And then we flash to season 5, and this is Will in his own mind, independent of I know he's trying to save Mike in this moment, but it's not Mike prompting this memory.
No.
And he is thinking of his best memories with the people he loves the most, and it's the same memory.
Exactly.
And now we see it acted out for the first time after it's been mentioned. It's just like they could put any memory if it was just gonna be. I know that we already know that he has a crush on Mike, and that's not what's in question.
He could have put the whole party.
Like,
there's no scenes. I can't say that for certain because I don't remember, but I believe it's just the swing scene, and then there's also him building Castle Byers with his brother, and I think maybe there's some stuff with Joyce. But there's nothing with Dustin and Lucas. That's the whole thing too. The difference, Mike and Will's relationship, just looking from the Mike side, not even considering that Will has a crush on Mike, is so much more deep, and it's just more deep than even what they have with Lucas and Dustin.
Even from season 2, because nobody takes Will's condition and the episodes he's having seriously except Mike. And when it happens on Halloween, he takes Mike home to his house and is like, let's talk about what you think it really is, because I think everyone's bullshitting you right now, like, and I want to be the person to be there for you, me, to talk about this serious stuff and to tell you that it's real, because no one's believing Will, and also everyone wants to put a band-aid on it, and so does Will in a way, but Mike is the only one to push enough for Will to be like, no, this is how I'm actually feeling. And that's set up from season 2. And that's putting their relationship in a deeper way, their friendship at a deeper level than he has with the others.
And and it's not, and Dustin and Lucas aren't even really included in that. They're dealing with this whole Max thing, and then also this little Demogorgon thing, but it's Will who is at the bedside. It's Will who is
Mike.
They're the same gay little boys in my mind. But Mike is the one at the bedside. Mike is the one in the house, getting him to there's 3 loved ones in the room, getting him to remember who he is and beat the Mind Flayer. Mom, brother, Mike. And also they said, and again, this is a deliberate change. It's not like, well, they've always just been really close best friends. Specifically in season 1, it is canon that Lucas is perceived as the best friend of Mike. And I would argue that they kind of lean into that. They're all very good friends. I argue that their best relationship altogether is in season 1. But specifically in season 1, it's like Dustin and Mike have this conversation about how Lucas is the best friend because he lives close. And he's like, well, you're all my best friends. Season 2, immediate pivot. It's very obvious that Will and Mike are closer than the rest of them. Mm-hmm. Why the shift? Well, because Will has a crush on Mike eventually, as it finds out. But that's a one-sided thing. That would be one yearning, and he would maybe even get jealous over the relationship that he is also having with Dustin and Lucas. But that's not what's going on. They are they are shown to be the closest. They have this, I can't even remember the season 4 scene where they have talk about missing each other, and like he says that it's not the same like without you. It's not the same without you. They have like Lucas and Dustin, they're great, but it's not the same without you. That is a deliberate change from him in season 1, where season 1 he was like, no, you guys are all equal, but now all of a sudden Will's gone and he's like, well, it's not the same without you.
Right.
You guys, it is so serious to me. It actually is so serious to me.
Yeah. And I would say even if it doesn't become canon, I would argue that the show and the writing is trying to show you that it was like a genuine love triangle in the sense. Sure. I mean, I guess it already is by making it canon that Will has a crush on Mike.
Right.
But I think that especially that scene in the car, because Mike has to figure out that those aren't actually Elle's feelings and Elle's words. You know what I mean? Like, he has to, and that paints such a clear... he has to acknowledge that there's something there. He has to,
especially because people who maybe don't, like, they acknowledge, or they go back to so many callbacks multiple times. Like, this show is full of freaking callbacks from multiple different seasons. So it's like, there's no way, it feels like they're not going to address it. They never really leave one stone unturned. But anyways, as you're saying.
Yeah, that was just, I guess what I'm saying is, even if it isn't canon, I think that you can, in the same way that I feel like I can take from Wicked that there is a clear gay reciprocal storyline, even if it doesn't become canon. That's how I would feel about it. Sure. I would also still 100% agree it would be bad writing, in my opinion, at this point.
Yeah.
Bad and unsatisfying, and also a little bit just, I think... I don't know. A little bit, I'm trying to think of the word, but like, you're kind of just leeching off the queer community, and that's queer baiting is the word, but leeching off of their support and that excitement in a way, because like, why would you drop so many hints and parallels with other couples and Mike and Will as well, and make it so obvious and then just not?
Especially because you have made it canon that Will likes Mike. Like, that's not arguable. That's not arguable at this point. So, of course, regardless of, like, us thinking that it's actually a possibility, there are going to be supporters of that. So then to not, like, you know that people are going to ship that and have been shipping that even before it was made canon that Will likes Mike, then you're just, like, the specific one of two couples that doesn't get the person that they've been going after all this time is the queer couple. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the only other being Steve and the Stauncy triangle, but we also have our feelings about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're both kind of pieces of shit.
Yeah.
In their core. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen season 2 at this point, and they're not doing shitty things. Well, Steve doesn't start off great.
No.
But they're not, like, really at their core shitty guys. But if you present to me these two quote-unquote love interests in season 1, and one of them is a fucking pervert. He just is. I am sorry. He is. He never gives a good enough explanation on that, and then they just fucking drop it because she just ends up liking him.
Yeah.
And then Steve, clear misogynist, and I know that he kind of is going through that arc pretty much immediately after that.
Right.
But it's the
They're
whole
trying
idea,
to redeem him after that.
Like, he's trying to better himself and realizing that he's being a dirtbag and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like they both see Nancy as something to be won. And also, every time one of them gets with her, thus far, it's at the detriment of the other. Like, Steve leaves her drunk at the party, and so Jonathan gets to be the one to take her home. But, like, and yeah, like, taking her home is a nice thing to do, but that's just a thing you should do.
Right.
But then suddenly that elevates him as the clear choice.
Right.
And especially in Nancy's perspective. She's like, oh, it's clear that I don't want to be with Steve. You know what I mean? Even when, you know, Jonathan kind of tries to make it look like it was even Steve's idea, I guess. I don't know. I just think that they pray that it's never like one of them is clearly just being a better partner and or connecting well. I think Jonathan was connecting more with Nancy in this season, so maybe I'm not going to say that. But each of their come-ups is at the other's detriment, and it's always at that turning point, and it's never just Nancy just likes one better. One always has to fuck up for her to choose the other. And that's, like, annoying, in my opinion, because it's just, like, I don't really like either of these people. I do think Nancy and Jonathan match each other's freak on a consistent basis, but also Steve also matches their duo freak when the time calls for it.
I'm excited to see your thoughts on season 4, because they are separated, just like Mike and 11 are.
Mm-hmm.
And who's Nancy left with? Steve.
Yeah, and listen, and I think Nancy's kind of low-key playing both of them and keeping them on a, like, a low-key, like, leash in terms of, like, yeah, we're broken up, but, like, maybe I'll come back or
I'd say that's even
around.
Clearer in season 4 that she's doing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do I care? Not really. Girl is badass.
No, because guess what?
Girl loaded that gun right, like, when she, in season 1, when she looked at Jonathan and was like, we still need to kill one of them. I don't care what everyone else is doing. We need to go to your house and we need to cut ourselves open and we also need to set up bear traps and gasoline all over your fucking home. Mm-hmm. And Jonathan's just like, yeah. And then when they're getting ready, she's the one holding the damn gun. I was like, yeah, she can do whatever she wants. I fear Jonathan. I get it. She says the craziest shit to him and he's like, yeah, girl, you're right. She's like, I got really drunk and I told Steve that it's all his fault that Barb died and also that I don't love him and that our relationship was bullshit. And he was like, and some people say crazy things they don't mean when they're drunk. You didn't mean it. And it's like, boy, be for real. You know she don't like Steve like that. You know she's telling the truth. I think the Barb thing was more so like she feels blame for Barb and that's why she's saying we killed Barb and like you're not, because he was there. You know what I mean? I don't think she thinks it's all on him. But that's how it seemed in that moment, in which case, I do agree with Jonathan, like, you don't always say the right thing when you're drunk. But, like, she clearly don't like Steve like that anymore. And he's just like, no, girl, it's not your fault. Yes, we can go burn down my house to try to kill a Demogorgon. And, like, yeah, let's cut ourselves in the same place and have matching scars. And, like, that's hot, right? Like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, because if Nancy was asking those things of me, I would not be hesitating either.
Right. And I think, that is also on season 3, because there's not really much of a Steve interference in season 3. Steve is having his own storyline with Robin. And so it's very Nancy Jonathan, but they are, of course, have their fight. And the fight is centering around, is Nancy always right? Which the answer basically ends up being, well, yes. Which is arguably not even true, because they both make good points. I would argue that, I guess as a woman, I would say that Nancy's was a better point than Jonathan's, because it's centered around misogyny that she faces. But she also, like, he still has a valid point, and he's the one that apologized, and she doesn't. For her being against,
because it's such a funny
on his problems.
It's just such a funny precedent, because it starts in season 1 and goes into season 2. Jonathan puts up no resistance to her crazy batshit ideas, and I'm in support of this.
Yeah.
I'm in support of Nancy all the way. Like, I don't give a fuck. We're starting where we think that the Demogorgons are about to attack at the house in season 2, and they're all standing in the living room, and it turns out to be 11. But that's what they think it is, right? Mm-hmm. They're all standing there. The only people with any sort of actual fucking weapon, Hopper got his Glock. And so does Nancy. Nancy got a shotgun.
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah.
No,
and then Steve got his fuck-ass bat, but I mean, what is that gonna do? But no one else has any gun. It's Hopper and Nancy got the shotgun. And I was like, well,
Nancy's
yes.
a freaky gun. Like, she is a badass. That's what she is. It's in season 4, there's the whole plotline of she's like, we gotta go back to my house and find my guns. My guns, plural, that I keep in my family home.
Way, I know it's the 80s and everyone just be doing whatever the fuck in the 80s, but the way these kids know how to load a gun in less than 30 seconds, when I was watching the pilot and Will runs into his house and he goes,
literally,
and shot, I was like, he just did that in less than 30 seconds. Loaded a gun.
And they multiple times go to, like, gun shops where they can just easily have access to buying guns and weapons and whatever else, and it's just like, yeah, sure, kid. Sure. Yeah, sure. But
granted, I guess they're not buying they're not buying AKs, and that's,
yeah,
I would argue the difference,
right? But
still crazy.
Nancy freaking shaws off the end of a shotgun in one of them, and I can't remember what season, but she's a little gun freak, and I do support it when it's a woman like that.
Right, like Jonathan, like when they're having their first ever hangout that first week, that first season, he's trying to shoot and he's missing, and she goes, "Can I try?" And he's like trying to explain it to her, and she goes, "Boom, boom, boom," and he just looks at her and he's like, "Yeah, that's my wife."
Anyways, all to say that ideal situation would be a throuple. Of course. You guys know what I'm going to say on that.
That's exactly what I texted you as soon as I finished season 1.
Yes.
Because Steve did not have to stay. If I was Steve, I would be going home, and 1, I'd probably be killing myself. But 2, regardless, I'd be getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Because he walks into this house, this freak, known pervert's house, and him and the girl he was dating are standing there. She's holding a gun. to his head and is like, get the fuck out. There's gasoline on the floor. There's bear traps. And he's just like, what? And then a Demogorgon breaks through the ceiling and he lives through that whole first encounter.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you need to leave. And he does not freak out enough, in my opinion, because he screams and runs to the car. And then he fucking comes back in and beats that fucking Demogorgon shit in with a bat. And when he came back for them after he saw the freak shit they were on, and then the Demogorgon come through the ceiling, and I was like, and when it counts, he's on the same freak level as them, and I think that they all should just fuck.
That's what it really, especially in the 5th season, because they're finally all together again, like, Jonathan, Nancy, and Steve, and we just had, like, because now it's very much Jonathan and Nancy, they're actually together, and then they have their whole things, and then they're separated, and then you get more Steve's in there, he's swooping in, and Nancy's like, oh my god, I don't know anymore. So that's the whole point of season 5, is like, they actually are kind of at equal playing fields, but I guess she is in a relationship with Jonathan by the start of season 5. But that they're actively fighting over Nancy again in season 5. And it's like, but if y'all they could equally each other, balance each other's freak, and like being Jonathan and Steve could work together to give Nancy the life she deserves, because she's not a girl easily satisfied.
She's a freak. She would want 2 boyfriends who would kiss.
Her off, she would. When one of her boyfriends pissed her off, she'd go to the other one, and then she'd be like, and then she's literally Zendaya Challengers.
Yes,
she's literally Zendaya's Challengers.
She is
making
a freak
them make
like
out
that.
in front of her.
She is a freak like that. It's been established.
Yes.
And also, what a great enemies to lovers with fucking Steve and Jonathan, because they don't like each other in season 1. Into season 2, Jonathan's like, what does she even see in Steve? And then they grow to respect each other, but it's like, and then you should grow to also like want to fuck each other.
Yeah. So that's our thoughts on the Stancy, but that's not really a possible. There can't be a throuple solution.
If we can't have 2 gay men, surely we cannot have a polycule.
Yeah, right. No, all that's left for me to say about Byler is that I think about them a lot, and I do cry thinking about Will not getting his boyfriend, because that's sad to me. It's sad to me. I don't care everyone else who's saying that it's not like that he can have a happy ending outside of that. I don't care. I want this little boy who's gone through a lot to get the man he loves.
And you know what is actually annoying me as well? The discourse of like, they're just in high school, there's so much more life to live, and so, like, because it's true, obviously it's fucking true, but also, like, but it is that serious, like, that first crush that makes you realize you're queer, and, like, crushes from when you're in high school, like, you are the most emotionally potent then, and I would argue those relationships, yes, maybe they don't, I'm not saying that whoever you're going to date in high school is your soulmate. I'm probably on the opposite side of that argument. Right. But I'm saying that it's shit you don't fucking forget, you know? I'm looking at this Byler stuff, and I'm thinking about the girl that I had a crush on when I was in high school, and I was exactly Will's age, and realizing I was gay because of it, and not wanting to be gay, and trying to navigate that, and navigating that sort of, like, not getting what you want. And it's like, bro, if she showed up today, if she called me today, I'd be like, and yeah, I would still date you. Like, and to me, having that perspective, it's like, I wouldn't buy that ending that Will doesn't, when, like, he's happy and he's content and he's moved on. Because it's like, girl, that is not the fucking reality.
Because he would probably be the same way. Because if he gets an epilogue boyfriend, we know that if Mike was to call Will up, Will would say yes. It's like, always based on their relationship. They're so deep like that. Yeah,
and I'm not saying I'm never going to be happy again. That's literally not it at all. But it's the sort of, like, you always want it to be what you wanted back when you were a kid. Like, I'll always want it to be true. I always want it to happen, if that makes sense. Doesn't matter how long it's been. It's been, what, fucking 10 years? Yeah. Does not matter. And from having that perspective, watching Byler play out, it's like, I don't buy from these writers that he can just, the lesson is he gets to move on, and that's what his happiness is just knowing that he's queer and just moving on and finding someone else. It's like, why? Like, no, I think he should just get who he wants. Yeah.
And that's our thoughts. So I'm really curious to see what happens in this volume 2. And that'll, I think, will shape the clips that I pull from this episode based on what happens, what is confirmed to happen. That will influence my clips. But yeah, I'm very into it. They take up our mind, and I, like, genuinely start tweaking sometimes, like, just thinking about it, and especially thinking about it not happening, because it makes me very upset. So I'm gonna be a really fun person to watch this with, I think. Like, me, like, my dad who screams at the TV during football, but it's me during Byler scenes on Stranger Things, where I'm literally like, let's fucking go!
Yeah.
Like, that is going to be
literally.
me.
I literally said in the theater, if they get a kiss and, like, they're not confirmed at that point and they kiss, I will stand up in the theater and I will scream.
It's fun to watch, because I feel like it's gonna be, like, in Stranger, or, like, a Endgame type theater vibe.
I'm
like,
literally
people are gonna be, like, it's just gonna be so fun.
I'm literally will stand up and scream.
Yes!
And we're not even in the last row. I don't give a fuck. I'm covering the screen. You're not seeing shit go further. I'm standing and I'm screaming. I'm getting on my knees. I'm praying to God. Yes. Shit like that.
Oh my god, I think about them kissing on the screen and I actually can't. Okay, we need to move on because it's getting bad. Let's get on to the advice.
Okay. My first advice is, my boyfriend refuses to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender because he says animated shows are for children only. How do I convince him to watch it with me? I think if a man has that rigid of an opinion, he maybe won't be convinced, but I do think that opinion is some fucking bullshit. Avatar: The Last Airbender itself is a show. Yes, it's made for children. Do I think it's evergreen and just as good as an adult? Yes, because it's a kid's show, but it's about a lot more. I think it's one of the best animated shows ever made. I think every person on Earth would enjoy watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. And when I have friends who want to get into anime, that's what I say they should watch first, because it's not technically an anime, but it is one of the best fictional stories ever told, and it gets you into that medium. And also, I guess what I have to say to that, has your boyfriend ever watched any anime, and does he really think that all animes are for kids? If not, maybe show him the first episode of Attack on Titan when someone's mom literally gets eaten by a giant Titan beast and ripped apart, and you see their blood and their bones and their guts. And the fact that anime has fucking genres of, like, horror, psychological horror. Erased is another crazy one. You would like Erased. If you were to ask me what anime should I watch, I would say Erased, because it's like a thriller mystery. And the payoff is so good. I mean, I guess who the killer was, but...
Sure.
But I don't think it's obvious. I think I just made a lucky guess. But it was so good, and that reveal was crazy.
Nice.
And, like, that one is literally a thriller mystery, and there's fucking death and gore, and, like, death and gore is, I think, very common in animation as well, because it's easier to take as a viewer than watching, you know, something that's trying to look hyper-realistic. Right. Yeah. So, I don't know if I have good advice how to convince, but I do think that's some fucking bullshit. Yeah. I think you know it too, though.
Also, yeah, I don't really have anything specific to add here, since I haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I think that's just bullshit on your boyfriend's part, because for me, if I have a partner and they really like something and they want to show it to me, I'm going to watch it with them. It doesn't matter to me if it's something I would typically like or not. If that's my partner, I'm going to watch, like, I want to share that with my partner. If they want to share it with me, if they're excited to show me their special interest, I'm gonna be in that.
It's also just such a rigid and misogynistic viewpoint, I think. And a conservative viewpoint, in my opinion. Just be like, all animation is for kids, and I'm not gonna change my mind, and I'm not gonna watch it, and you're childish for wanting to watch it as my girlfriend. Yeah, that's a misogynistic viewpoint. And also giving conservatism, in my opinion.
Well, and you hear to hear. Okay, my advice was, should I go to therapy?
Always yes.
And I'd say yes, and I chose this one specifically because I feel like my attachment to these Byler characters is stemming from a place that I probably need some therapy. Enough said there. I think
because actually I'm gonna go to therapy this week, and we already agreed, me and my therapist, last week. I also just think, baseline, I think everyone can benefit from talk therapy, because everyone needs everyone needs someone in their corner who's unwillingly supportive, not unwillingly, but like interruptedly
unbiased.
Yes, always supportive of you and wanting to hear what you have to say because you're fucking paying them. But regardless, I literally told my therapist last week, we're about to go on this big family vacation and I have a lot of friends coming and I know it's going to be stressful for me. Let's focus on that and talking about the situations that are arising from that at therapy. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to be like, all right, scratch that. I'm watching Stranger Things and this whole Byler shit is getting really serious because it's relating to my own coming into my own queer identity. And a big thing I've been talking about at therapy is whether or not I am actually a lesbian and whether or not do I have to actually know, and why do I feel like I have to know, and why am I scared to be if I am, and bring that all back, it's just like it's just so relevant to what my therapy I've been talking on and on about as well, and people's perception of me. And now I'm like, but this Byler shit is serious, because now I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna be like, so I'm gonna tell you about the first girl I ever had a crush on, and we need to be really serious about it, and like all the shit, because it like brings it up, and it's like I actually have to go to therapy about it this week.
Yeah.
In a serious way, I have to go to Byler therapy.
And that's what mine is like. It's just, obviously there's something lurking there that I feel so... I just have like a weird relationship with relationships in general, obviously, as I've been single for so long. And so it's just giving like this obsession is obviously, and especially my emotional connection to this, where I feel genuinely that I'm going to be so disappointed if it doesn't happen, that I think that means that there's probably something else going on under the surface. So that's why I picked this question, because I think it's something I need to hear, and I think definitely something I need to do. But yeah, there's like, I don't think there's a reason I would ever say that someone shouldn't go to therapy, unless you're really not willing to talk about it, or maybe you just need to try different types of therapy. I don't think necessarily talk therapy is for everyone. But there's other types of therapy out there. Just talk is the most common. But I don't think there's a single person I wouldn't say like, don't go to therapy. Like, everyone should.
And I think talk therapy, I think in the long term, not everyone needs it to solve their trauma. I agree with that. Like, not every therapy is going to work for but I think the everyday person, even if you don't have a deep trauma to solve, talk therapy, I think, is supportive in a way. Like, I just recently found out I have to go to other avenues of therapy to actually get through the trauma I have, but I don't think I'm going to stop talk therapy, even if I don't think it's changing me fundamentally, because I just like that sport, and I think just if you have access to it.
Like you said, it's good to, you should be talking about the problems in your life with someone, and sometimes it's hard to talk to the other people in our life, because it's about those people a good chunk of the time, or so yeah, it's just good to have someone in your corner like that, even though unfortunately you have to pay them, but that's this capitalistic society we live in. So now we are into must recommends. So mine is if you couldn't expect, it's You Took My Heart, I Was Sleeping.
The fanfiction.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but I mean, I'm like, literally, this is only for the Byler fans. And to be fair, I haven't read any of the other Byler fanfics yet.
I've been sending you now, because just now I'm like,
I know,
I feel
and
like
I've been
the
saving
floodgates
a
are
million.
open. So
my For You pages right now is Byler or Byler fanfic recommendations. So like Byler edits, Byler fanfic, Byler theories, and then maybe some other things randomly here and there. But that's what it is. And so anyways, yes, I there's definitely more that's going to be happening, but this one is like taking the community by storm. I sent you the TikTok, so I'm like, I haven't seen this much attention on a fanfic since All the Young Dudes. And it was good. I mean, it's fan fiction. And also, I'm not going to hate on fan fiction. That's free media that we're having people present.
You'll have to read the others and see what you like as your representation.
Agree. So I can't,
the couple.
I thought the representations of the characters were good. I thought the queerness of it was really good. The angst was delicious. And I cried. Yes, I did cry. Because all I want in life is my son Will to have his boy. So that is why.
Right.
And so that is my recommendation. If you are a Byler stan, read that fanfic, because to me, it could be canon. It takes place, not intentionally, but the author said it can, between season 4 and season 5 in the 18 months that Will is living with Mike.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. My must recommend is just getting really into yaoi and yuri and fujoshiing out with your friends.
Thank you.
Like, if you're my friend and you were surprised that I'm watching Heated Rivalry, fuck you, honestly, because, like, I am a known yaoi and yuri connoisseur.
Yeah.
I got invited into a book club because of the fact that they knew I was a yuri connoisseur.
Yes.
So, just, like, get into dudes kissing and fucking each other, and same with girls. And if you want any recs, just let me know, because my bookshelves are filled with yaoi and yuri, and so is my shows, and so are my movies, and so is my fanfiction. And that's
the way it should be.
Yeah,
really.
Everyone get more gay right now. More gay and more mainstream about it.
Yes, and post it on Maine. Yes.
Yeah, post it on Maine.
Post it on Maine. Who gives a fuck? Okay, anyways.
The bob is falling, so we're gonna have to cut this.
Will is,
we're gonna have to cut it here.
The bowl cut is unfrilling, so we're gonna go.
But can you guys appreciate the bowl? The fake bowl?
I did. It definitely doesn't look as good now, but I'll have to redo it for the TikToks that we're gonna film. Look out for some Will and Mike thirst traps, because that's what we're gonna be doing.
Well, yes. All right.
And making our social media managers watch.
Yeah.
In the other room. Okay.
All right, guys. Follow us. Can you do the social medias? My eyes are.
Yes. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We are weknowbetterpod, except on TikTok we have 2Ds. You can also find us on all your streaming platforms, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. I guess that's not all, but those ones for the podcast. And then for personal socials, mine is MoreCooper2020, Instagram and TikTok. And Elizabeth's TikTok is edgyliz. That's it? Or underscore?
Nope, just Edgy Liz.
Just Edgy Liz. Edgy Liz. And then her Instagram is elizabethrosepenabrown.
Yes. All right. We'll see you guys in the new year.
Yeah, with Byler confirmed or not, we will have our answers by next pod.
Yes, we will. All right.